Yes, sir.
What is going on, buddy?
Those are those sounds straight out of Oaktown right there, man. It's good to be back on screen with you, brother. How are you?
Much better than last week. I apologize. Last week I was a little under the weather. Had a pretty good cough going and lost my voice, so it wouldn't have been a very good one to listen to me. So thanks for letting me have the week off. Feeling a
Hard
lot
enough,
better now.
hard enough as it is, brother. I need you 100%. No, man, got to take care of yourself. A lot of stuff going around. The Thanksgiving crud, I heard it called, and a lot of people at my office were immediately sick right after Thanksgiving. So pretty common situation, I think, that you were in.
Definitely. It was a little chilly down in Vegas, and obviously I was out in the weather most of the time, but I think that's probably where I got it from. But feeling a lot better now. Had
Well,
a
that was a
week to
pretty good
recover.
trade-off. That was a pretty good trade-off for you, right? You traded a cold for 4 stacks.
Yeah, just a couple stacks.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
yeah, we had a pretty good weekend down there. Made 32 runs on the car. We're starting to slowly get it figured out. Lucked my way into the low roller gambler win. Um, I wasn't driving great. The car was definitely holding me up more than I was giving it justice, but had Marco Pervolaris in the final there. He clicked it red a little bit, but it's always tough to race Marco. You always got to get up for him, and so I was 12, I think. He was 12 red, so just one of those races where you got lucky.
Yeah, man. Marco's a tough out. He would have probably gave you all you wanted if had he not clicked it red. But pretty stoked, man. I was hoping there was some better way to follow the race over the weekend. We just pretty much laid low for Thanksgiving, and but yeah, no live stream. There wasn't really any good place to stay up on it. So I appreciated getting some updates from you. I saw Coop cashed in on the high roller side, and then it looked like, from what I know, a pretty just kind of broad smattering of different people. Seemed pretty competitive. A lot of different
Yeah,
names on the winner sheet.
it was a weekend not really dominated by a single person. I guess I could give the MVP, the greatest of all time, of last week. Right now, Trey Vetter, in my opinion, uh, he was the most dominant. He deserves the MVP spot. He had a semifinal finish in the Thursday 5K, and then closed it out on Sunday with the 5K win. So Trey Vetter, MVP, greatest of all time of last week.
That's pretty solid. What was he driving?
He was driving the dragster this weekend. It's a little bit expensive to bring the super stocker out for a bracket race, but I do love seeing those big wheelies.
Yeah, man, that thing gets busy. Well, that's cool. That's pretty deserving in over a weekend where nobody was dominant. Sounds like he was closest to it, and
Mhm.
I don't know how he did any of the other days, but he probably had to have the most round wins or real close to it for the weekend. So that's
Definitely up
solid for
there.
Trey.
Yep. Some other winners, like you mentioned, the high roller gambler Cooper Chun. Um, I'll just run through the Super Pro winners and then Pro and Sportsman. Super Pro Thursday, Jake Jones out of Northern Utah got it done. Friday, Gabe Torres, little more known on the NHRA side, but came out bracket racing with his brother and his nieces and brought the home the win on Friday. Saturday, Seth Palvador. Seth kind of taking a step back from traveling. He's been doing most of his racing at Tucson lately, but the Thanksgiving race gets people out and about. Seth came up from Arizona and got it done on Saturday. And then the aforementioned Trey Vetter rounded out the weekend with the win on Sunday. Anybody in there you want to touch on, or should I move on to Pro?
Yeah, man, just keep it rolling.
All right, Pro Thursday's winner Tony Marconi. He's got a Roadster. I don't even know what it is. It kind of looks like a Ford Escort to me. Like I said, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not your typical Roadster. But he runs that in Pro off the bottom, and then he runs it in Super Pro as well. I don't know if he's swapping delay boxes in or out, but he went a lot of rounds in Super Pro as well. Friday, Jason Horn. He's known to be our ET Finals team captain. Jason didn't really start bracket racing until just a handful of years ago, but he's really grown and he's been turning on a lot of win lights lately, and it's cool to see somebody just up and start bracket racing. I don't know his roots or what got him into it, but it's cool to see him turning on the win lights. Saturday, young Paige Smith. She's got a sweet Chevelle. It's the older style. Her and her brother both got matching ones. Hers is black, his is gray, but they're beautiful rides. And I believe both of them run Sportsman and Pro. They double enter at every weekend they come. So she got it done. And Sunday,
So she's swapping feet then?
I think she's swapping
Pro.
feet.
Nice.
Yeah, and well, yeah, it would make sense, right? They're running Sportsman and
I mean,
Pro.
she could take a button. You could take a button out just like you take a box out, but
yeah, you're right.
But most people just swap feet.
Yeah, either way, they always crush it in those cars. Yeah. They're always in deep. And then, like I said, Curtis Zinzalita rounded out the weekend in Pro. He's always tough.
Man, Curtis is such a good dude, such a nice guy.
Does he have the yellow Roadrunner?
Yeah, the yellow Plymouth, man, yellow and purple. It's got like a, just perfect, 80s Pro Street paint job on it. It's a big car and it's quick. I think he runs like 610, low 620s. For a big of car, it is like it hauls the mail, and I think it's went fives before. Like it's a ripper, man, and he's such a nice guy. And he gets around. I met him at the Woodburn This Is Bracket Racing Elite Fest years ago. He's usually down in Tucson, but you'll see him also at tracks out in Illinois, out in the Midwest. I think he's originally from I-57's like his original home track as a kid, or at least for certainly some portion of his life. So Curtis gets around. He's a good dude, and yeah, his car, man, it's one of the cleanest Mopars in the building. It's sweet.
I got a first-hand look at that car on Sunday. Actually, he beat me in, I think it was 5th round. Not exactly sure, but yeah, he's always deep in the rounds, and I love that car. It's mint.
Yeah, man, it's pretty nice.
I was way off. Tony's car is a Plymouth Arrow, not a Ford Escort. I'm getting people saying there's no audio. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Sound great.
If it's for reals, you're not getting audio, please post another comment. Otherwise, we're going to keep cruising. Sportsman, you can't enter the chat without mentioning the name C.W. Hofer. He was your Sportsman winner on Thursday. And from what I hear, I had a little bit of a Facebook post where I asked how many runs is the most runs you've put down in a weekend. And I don't think it was the most runs he's ever put down in a weekend, but C-Dub had well over 50 runs this weekend in the same car. He was running Sportsman, Pro, and Super Pro. And I saw him just he was making the drag strip. He was making the drag strip a NASCAR track.
That's like a whole season for me almost. Like, well, dude, because if I go to 6 events a year, I mean, if you count time runs, you get 8 runs on your car, that means you went 6 rounds. We usually don't have 6 rounders. We got, maybe 5 or 6 rounds. And I ain't never been to the final yet. I don't ever make it past the semi. So, a good day for me has been 6, 7 runs times 8, 8 times that I'm still sub 50, so that's pretty awesome, man. It'd be so cool to be able to get that kind of seat time and put that kind of laps on the ride, man. That's getting it done.
Yeah. Sorry, back to that little bit of a Facebook post. It's crazy how many people have put down 40 or 50 runs in a weekend. It's like you don't even have time to think at that point. If you're on a roll, you just keep going. You don't have time to think. You just show up and keep letting go, right? And that's one of one of my favorite things about like the Thanksgiving race or a Forsyth race, where you can just show up and double enter, and you can put down a lot of runs in one weekend.
Yeah, man, I think the most I've ever had was like 24, 27 came this year. I had a pretty good run at Woodburn's Night of Fire. Made it like 6, 8 cars, pretty much everything except the final day. And that to me, like walking out of there with a stack of 25 felt like, time to rebuild the old girl. Like we wore it out, and so yeah, doing double that in a weekend, man. You're putting in some work and turning on some wind lights for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Friday we had Justin King, Saturday Jeff Arnswald, and I believe C-Dub and Jeff are pretty good buddies, so no surprise there. And then rounding it out on Sunday, Cole Rouse was your winner there. There was a couple specialty races. We have the Geezer Gambler, and that's for guys and gals. I think it's over 50 years old. It might be 55. I'm not exactly sure. Not quite there yet, so haven't looked into it. And then we have the die-cast shootout. So if you're not familiar with the die-cast shootout, they take 8 cars, and it's the staff, the racetrack staff's picks. So they pick 8 cars that remind them of the Hot Wheels or die-cast cars. And we had like a front-engine Jeep that was like a front-engine dragster, but it's a Jeep. Like it was pretty sick, right? And then like some Studebakers, and I was really hoping that we'd qualify with the Trans Am this year because it kind of looks like Kit from Knight Rider, but I think we're gonna have to add that little red bar in the front to make it happen.
Man, I thought you might get picked. It looks to me like the Racer Series or whatever you might get in a Hot Wheels pack. So I was thinking you'd be in the mix. That's too bad.
You know what? All 8 cars were very deserving of their picks. Maybe sometime in the future we could get picked, but this year wasn't our year. But the winner of the Geezer Gambler and the die-cast shootout, maybe he should have been the MVP of the week. But Kevin Hansen in his 1964 Studebaker brought home the win in both of those specialty races.
Yeah, Studebaker car or truck? Is it like a Super Hawk or what? Like an old Super Hawk car?
I'll be honest, I didn't lay eyes on this one. But it probably wore me out at some point this weekend. But yes, it is a Studebaker. Not sure if it's a truck or a car.
I think they had like a kind of a big sedan looking thing at one point that kind of looks like a big Austin, like a full size Austin. Back when I was growing up, one of the cars I loved the most, Boyd Coddington, did a Studebaker Silverhawk, and I still have pictures of this thing saved to my computer hard drive because it was like the coolest car I'd ever seen. So old Studebakers are cool, man.
I'll do some homework. Excuse me.
Yeah,
they take a picture every year of the 8 contestants all lined up. It's pretty sweet, and I'll bring that to here.
Yeah, we need a full report
next week.
So. Well, talking a little bit of bracket racing is a great segue into, I think, the next part of our show. Our guest should be joining us. We were pretty NHRA heavy to start the podcast. We came in at a time where that's where a lot of action was, a lot of storylines. But we also want to talk about some bracket racers, and most anybody you find that does any class racing on the NHRA level, also bracket races. But that's not always the case the other way around. You got a lot of people who turn a lot of laps on Saturdays and Sundays at their local track that you'll never see at a divisional or national event because all they do is bracket race. Not exactly the way our guest, we're going to have Henry Roberson here, does it, but you certainly will see him on the bracket racing scene much more than you'd see him in any kind of, series like that. Of course, he runs his local track point series and stuff, but really chases after the bracket racing stuff out here on the West Coast. And when I think about bracket racers out here, I don't really know who's waving the flag as loudly and as highly as Henry Roberson is for the West Coast. He's certainly a great self-promoter, brings a lot of awareness to his program and to his sponsors and what he's doing. But while he's doing it, he performs, man. And this is a guy who has turned on a ton of win lights at just about every track, west of the Rockies. So really excited to talk to Henry and learn a little bit about where he came from, why he chases what he chases. And I've always kind of wondered what his ultimate kind of end game is, where he's trying to go. So hopefully we can drag some of that out of him here today. So I don't know if he's on yet.
He's here.
Yeah.
You want to do it? You want to read some of those stats?
I'd love to. I know he'd like to hear him too. He probably likes to hear him get read back. So we're going to have Henry Roberson straight out of California. He's California to the core, very accomplished, obviously a highly visible West Coast racer if you pay attention at all. And he's done a lot of winning Rookie of the Year honors clear back as early as 2005, multiple Driver of the Year awards in 2018 and 2024, 2018 D7 ET Finals champion in Sportsman, 2019 NHRA Heritage Series champion, and I think like a six-time track champion, and well over 15 big check wins at big money events across the West Coast. And somebody who I've known now for a few years and had the pleasure to become friends with, and really appreciate that relationship. Henry Roberson, welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you guys having me on the Most Handsome podcast. Let me come bless it, man. I appreciate the opportunity, Troy and Parker, man. Thank you so much. And now let's have some fun talking, man.
Yeah, it's real handsome now, boy. We get all three of us together, we clean up.
I don't think I could grow a beard near as nice as you, but I could try my best.
We'll leave that to him.
The wife loves it. The grays are coming in strong. You know what I mean? The bald head with the gray beard. She can't wait till I turn into a silver fox fully.
It's an avalanche, man. Once it starts, bro, it's just like you're on the trail now. It ain't no stopping it.
I feel like I've earned the wisdom. So yep, they're coming in.
They make just for men for that, guys.
Nah.
When you turn 30, then we'll talk again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have any hair by the time I'm 30, so we're good.
So Henry, I know, busy guy. Really appreciate you making some time. I know you've been on the grind. It's the busy season for what you do as a UPS driver. So appreciate you making some time for us here this weekend during the busy, holiday season and all that. So it's good to have you on, man. And I just, for anybody who hasn't become acquainted with you, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give anybody out there who doesn't know Henry Roberson the elevator introduction. How you got to this point, your early start in racing. Maybe give us the brief history. Bring us up to where we're at today.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Henry Giselle Roberson. Roberson Racing Inc. on all social media platforms. Basically, Northern California based. Grew up at the racetrack, Sacramento Raceway Park, watching my father race. Since I was basically born, and hanging out at, the racetrack with the owner of the track and the big names that came out of Sacramento and Sonoma area back in the, early 90s and late 90s. And then once I got my permit when I turned 15, started my racing career per se. I didn't get a chance to do juniors as it was just a little too expensive for my dad to muster. He would have had to pick between his racing program and trying to support me, running juniors as well. And it just wasn't feasible at the time. So started off in a big car, just a street car, Buick Regal, 17-second car, and I cut my teeth from the ground up, just, learning how to turn on wind lights with subpar equipment has pretty much been my MO since I started racing. And I truly believe like that builds you into a really good bracket racer once the equipment comes around. Like, so nowadays that the car is so good, like just I can rely on the car, can, dial the car. Like, and I the way I grew up was holding numbers, and the car may swing a 10th either way at any given round. So I'm holding, a 10th or more at all times. And that's the essence of bracket racing, is that you don't have to have, a ton of money. You don't have to have, the best equipment. You can still have success in this game by just being consistent and, putting the car on the number as well as cutting a light, and then honing those skills over the years. I've endured a ton of accolades and success, and just been very blessed, man, and thankful for the sport, everything that it's given to me, and the opportunities I've been afforded, by the sport and by my parents, and just always try to show gratitude and be very grateful, just to be able to do what I do.
Man, that's one thing I've definitely noticed about you. You get a lot from the sport, but even in that, grateful and see you trying to give back. I want to touch on something real quick. One of the things I think that makes you especially dangerous these days is knowing where you came from and that situation with less than ideal equipment. Over the past few years, right, you've gotten yourself into a position just in a season in life and financially and whatever to where you've really been able to concentrate on your program and on your car. And just in the years that I've known you, from a 7 second and 11 second type ride to now, low sixes and into the nines, you've really put some time and some money into making upgrades. And so now with all that history, with all that kind of foundation of knowing how to wheel something that ain't good, you've turned stickers into just a deadly, deadly tool, man. And I think anybody who has to line up to that thing, especially right now, man, they're in for something. So talk a little bit about that shift from you could have just kept doing that, right? Driving junkyard motors and doing that thing, but you made the conscious decision to invest the time and the money. So talk a little bit about that transition as you take that part of your program a little more serious.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far back as I can remember, when I started racing, like the goal is always to have nicer things, to be faster. But I mean, that's what the essence of bracket racing is. You do what you can. You get to the track by any means, and if you're really serious about becoming better, then you have to show up and participate. So I mean, there wasn't many races that I've missed, especially at my home track, Sac Raceway. Over the past 23 years. So yeah, I mean, the goal always is though to make the car better, make yourself better, and to continue progressing. So I believe it's funny, man. Like I think back, like I started racing, like I went down the track the first time in 2001 when I was 15. I just got my permit, at 15 and a half years old. So from 2001 to almost 2000, probably 14 or 15, like I think of that as almost like one career. That was like running multiple different race cars that my dad, old school, it's a pick and pull 350 Chevy with, camel hump heads, some fuely heads, and a lopsided cam, you know what I mean? And that's a race car, like slapper bars. Cam, yeah, slapper bars, and that's a race car, you know what I mean? Like that's what I grew up racing was, cars like that. And then from 2016 until present, like I almost think of it as like a second career almost. It's where like I had bought stickers from my friend. It obviously wasn't the car that it is today, but over the past 10 years, I've built it into what it is. And I like I said, man, I think this is all just kind of an accumulation of the essence of bracket racing. Is that like you can take something that's not great and still do well with it, but like I said, once you're progressing yourself and progressing the car, like the numbers show it. The game has changed as well. Like the numbers have gotten a lot tighter over the years. And you got to tighten up with it, So like the onus that I put on myself to perform every weekend is, I mean, I hold myself to a really high standard and I expect myself to perform, and I'm very disappointed when I'm not. But you guys know I go live every single round, so everybody's there to endure the successes and accolades with me, as well as my failures and shortcomings. So like I try not to sugarcoat stuff, but man, it's a great thing to see though, man. I definitely still have more goals for the car as far as turning into a true pro car. Like it's still stock suspension in the back, you know what I mean? Like I'd love to mini tub it and get a bigger tire under the car, but no, we're making progress in the right direction, man. And with every change that I make to the car, I think it gets a little better, and that's a good thing.
One of the things I want to chime in here is you said you have the camera in the car every run, and you go live almost every run. Do you think that having the camera in the car and talking through your strategy and game plan hold you accountable to stick to a game plan? Like I've noticed lately, like you've seen some of my videos, and I love watching your videos, but lately when I talk through a run, it kind of makes everything fresh in my mind. Like it's easier to make decisions at the finish line now that I've already gone over it, rather than I'll just figure it out as I'm going down the track. So can you kind of walk us through that version of how you do it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I started going live on Facebook back around 2016, kind of sparingly, just here and there, and then I went full blown I made a vow to myself, as long as people were hanging out and having fun, and I'll go live every single round. But yeah, definitely. Before I was going live, I believe I still had the same dialogue inside of the car. It was just an internal dialogue instead of vocalizing it. So I mean, it's super routine too. Like, you can click on any round, of eliminations that I'm live, and like, it's pretty much the same stuff, you know what I mean, that I'm saying to myself, that I'm breaking down of what's going to happen and what the goal is for the round. But I think like, you got to have a strong game plan coming into the round. It needs to be somewhat concrete in your mind, like, of what the race is supposed to look like, what you're expecting to have to do at the finish line. And I think vocalizing that, whether it's internal or out loud, I think it does. It kind of concretes just the way that it's supposed to happen while going down the track, and it makes the decision making a lot easier down there. Like, this is split seconds of a second decision, between win and loss, and so if you're not concrete in your game plan, then the execution side of it probably isn't going to come out the way that you'd like it to.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too, man. I love that when you put it out there like that, you go, every round, right? You're putting it all on Front Street, and you're a shameless self-promoter, and you're really good at it, right? But you have something to promote, right? And you have something to be proud of, because you win a lot. You turn on a lot of win lights. And I love that at the end of the day, every one of those videos is the receipt. That's you keeping the receipts all the way through. And I just kind of love that transparency. And it'd be one thing if you had the kind of setup you do, and didn't produce the results, but you do. And so I think it's pretty cool, man. And it's been fun to watch. You mentioned your dad, growing up watching your dad. I've had the pleasure now to meet your dad. What a super cool dude. And if anybody hasn't seen the way your dad hits the tree, when you have to hit the tree, he counts it down and he points, and off you go, man. It's one of my favorite things. And anytime he's around, I'm watching for it, and he sends you down every pass, man. But right, the roles have kind of shifted now. You grew up watching him. He was mentoring you. I think he's in his young 80s now, right?
Yes, they're 83.
But there he is now, riding shotgun with you to the events and being there. Talk a little bit about that dynamic, that relationship. That's a camaraderie I think every son hopes to have with their father. Not everyone gets it, but pretty cool that you have that. Maybe talk a little bit about how you and your dad get down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Once again, just extremely blessed, and thankful to still have my, my parents, and especially my father, who introduced the sport of racing to me around. But yeah, man, like, the way that he came up racing was, street racer, San Francisco, in the hills of San Francisco as a kid, and I mean, this is a long time ago where there wasn't even sanctioned racetracks really yet, and then once bracket racing became a thing and he started racing, I don't know, he fell in love with it, but he doesn't, like, he's a street racer mentality at the end of the day. So for like what he taught me as a young man, as far as like, holding numbers and, making sure you're able to run the number. You got to put something on the window that you could run, you know what I mean? And like general ideologies like that. But then like he's always in awe, just of the like I said, the game has gotten a lot tighter over the years, but he's always in awe of what I'm able to do as far as, throwing together packages round to round. And he's just a proud papa, man. Like I imagine, if I ever have a son and my son takes over, I'm going to be just like my dad is, just super proud of every step of the way. And you can tell in his, in his eyes that every time I win a race, like that's his boy, he's super proud of that. And I love him to death, man. And he's a great dude for sure.
That's awesome, man. I always enjoy getting to watch that. There's, it's a common story in some ways, right? Everyone has their own details and ins and outs, but the life of watching your family do it, watching your dad or your mom do it, and then eventually you grow up and you do it, and then they're with you. it's a common thread we all have. And I think for me too, when I first saw like the first video I ever saw of you, I'm like, who's this guy? Like who's Callie? What's Callie doing? Who is this cat? But I watched and now I've gotten to know you, and it's like, man, you have a story that I think a lot of people can relate to, right? Humble beginnings, a seed planted from your family, and then growing that into something, pretty awesome. And so at the end of the day, I think you have a story that maybe on the surface some people may not realize, but one that a lot of people could relate to, man.
I mean, that's like once again, man, that's like the coolest thing about bracket racing, is that we all come from different backgrounds, demographics, and, socioeconomic status. Like all that doesn't matter. Like you can have success in this sport, by just being good at it, essentially, you know what I mean? Or even just participating. Like if you show up and race enough, like people will, understand that that's what you are. You're a bracket racer, so yeah, man, I love this sport with a passion, man. Just that it's a really equal opportunity, sport. It's not based off of like grudge racing where it's almost the deeper pockets have, so much of an advantage. Like obviously when you get to a certain, level, obviously, better equipment, maybe more consistent or more reliable, but they get cracked just like anybody else. Any given round by that street car sitting over there running, 12 seconds, you know what I'm saying? And I love that about this sport, that there's no, real advantage until that tree drops. Once that tree hits green, then it's fair game. It's who can throw up a better package, you know what I'm saying?
Well, man, what's funny, like two of the most famous bracket racing cars in the game right now are a Kia Soul somewhere out in the Southeast and whatever DeAndre's driving. Like there's so many sweet rides out there, and two of the most recognizable rides right now in bracket racing are a Kia Soul and a whatever Hyundai Santa Fe. Whatever
we've been dealing with DeAndre and that Santa Fe for a long time, man. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. As soon as he got his license, you know what I mean? He's always in something slow, and he's formidable. He's deadly. You know what I mean? That's the great thing about this sport, though, man, is you put a dial-in on it. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be perfect every round. You know what I'm saying? You have to be one thou total better than your opponent. That's it. So, I mean, obviously, like,
that's all you got to do, guys. That's all you got to do.
That's it. There's levels to this, though. You know what I mean? Like I said, like I hold myself to a high standard. Like I'm shooting to be 8 to 13 on the tree every single round. Like I'm pretty upset with myself when I click at 22. You know what I mean? Like I missed at 10. Like I'm not trying to be 22. You know what I mean? Like and same thing, like like if I'm gonna turn it red, 1 thou red every whatever 10 hits, like I can live with that. Like I'm not aiming to be 40. You know what I'm saying? So I can live and die by striving to be good on the starting line. I really believe that the biggest advantage that you have in our sport is that starting line advantage. That's where it all starts. Like you can hold as many numbers as you want. If I got you dominated by 15 on the tree, your win light's not turning on. You know what I mean? Like we can go through time slips of, the past 100 passes I've made, you know what I mean? And if I got you on the tree, most likely the win light's on. You know what I'm saying? Like that starting line is so important.
I love that. I love that you're so passionate about the starting line, because I think that's one of the, like, we can't go out in our backyard and go practice driving the finish line, right? I mean, unless you got a couple homies in a golf cart or something, maybe. But the one thing that we can't control is hitting the practice tree, right? So I love how passionate you are about being able to hit the tree, and I love that a 10 miss makes you mad.
Yeah,
well, Parker,
absolutely.
This
is why Henry has 29 Wallies and I have 0, because I'm trying to be 22 and he ain't.
22 is a pretty good light, huh, Troy?
I'm feeling good, baby. If I could, if I'm averaging 24 on the weekend, watch out. Another semifinal finish for your boy.
I mean, this is a numbers game. It's all statistics. Like if you take the statistics, the ratio of wins and losses when you're 00 versus when you're teen versus when you're 20, like your odds of winning rounds substantially go up as your light gets better. You know what I mean? 100%. So I mean, it's a numbers game, bro. Like I said, and I can live with clicking it red every once in a while. I don't like to. It's not ideal. You know what I mean? But but I'm not trying to be disadvantaged at the starting line. I don't want to be, 15 behind on the hit. That's a tough way to live.
Yeah, man. I think about that a lot because I'm the same as you. I'd rather be 3 red than 38 and lose. But when you get that red slip, you're like, man, I didn't even give myself a chance. It's funny depending on which time slip you're holding. If you're holding the one where you were 38 and way behind, like, you just know it's garbage. I can never decide in the moment. Like right now, I could tell you I'd rather be 3 red, but man, when I'm 3 red, I sure get mad about those too.
The worst part about it is that 3 red, 6th round quarterfinals is usually accompanied by a 40 in the other lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where you're like, God, like if I'd have just turned it green, the wind lights on, dang it, but
they're 171.
Yeah, I don't even bat an eye when that happens. Like it's not on my opponent to be good. Like I honestly I could care less what my opponent does, honestly. Like I'm holding myself to a standard. That's like I've been talking with people lately about this. Like that's why I stepped up from sportsman. I got away from sportsman and stepped up to pro and super pro. I've always double dip as long as they've allowed it at our local tracks. When I started racing, I triple dip like CW back in the day when they would allow it, you know what I mean? But my car was a true sportsman car, foot brake, 2-wheel dolly towing from all the way from Arizona to Washington, you know what I mean? In a foot brake 1160 car, you know what I'm saying? And
pause right there too. Like that's one thing. Like I tried to bring it up a little bit about the hustle and the grind, and I know a lot of people know you and know that, but to anybody who's not, like, this is a guy who used to put his car on a 2-wheel dolly and disconnect the driveline so he could take it to a race. Like what? You're just towing it on the slicks?
No, so I changed the rear tires and I just remove the driveline, move it to the side, and tie it up with a bungee cord. And yeah, man, like I said, man, if there's a will, there's a way. Like you want to go racing, you can. And obviously we're way spread out here on the West Coast. So, you want to go racing, you got to travel a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely. Like I
love it, man. That's just such an old school thing, man. I love it. And we'll get into a little bit of this California stuff here soon. I know Parker's maybe got some rapid fires that he wants to throw at you though too.
Yeah. First off, I hear that Henry's a big dragster guy now. He's kind of forgetting about the door cars.
Big dragster guy.
He's going to the dark side.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's a lot of fun for sure. That was my first taste of a dragster, and it's funny because it was off the bottom. Then my first time driving a dragster, I'm trying to smack the bottom, with 0 rollout. But yeah, man, it's definitely a lot of fun. I've never had anything against dragsters, and I know a lot of people talk mess about them, but I mean, it takes a certain place in your life to be able to get to that point of having a dragster. So I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? I ain't got a shop to have it, and I don't think it even fit in my my trailer that I currently have, my enclosed. You know what I'm saying? Like, but someday I'll love to have a dragster. Love to have a door car and a dragster, and yeah, that'd be awesome. I ain't got nothing against dragsters. It's just a lot of fun for sure.
That first 80 feet is hard to beat, man. Like the first 80 feet in a dragster is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When you go from a dragster though to a door car, you never want to go back dragster. Like, take it from me, you don't want to go back that way. But when you have a door car and you get a little bit of a taste of a dragster, they're pretty dang cool. So you're looking at this from a different angle than I am. Like for me, when I think 10 years down the road, when I show up to the Spring Fling Million, I want to have a door car and I want to have a dragster, and you know what I'm saying. Like I want to attack both sides of the field if possible. Like I think that's more where my mind is. It ain't about having fun or you know what I'm saying. The dragster is a tool. It's a tool to get the job done. You know what I'm saying. Like they took it away from us, a few years ago, but we used to be able to run Super Pro door car as well as Pro with the same car. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I was showing up doing. You know what I'm saying? And then they took that away from us. So now I need a second car. Now I got to jump in Parker's Stalker to run Super Pro door car next year. You know what I'm saying? I think Troy's already claim on that.
Yeah, get in line.
Okay. So now that we've got that out of the way, so you've ran Sportsman and Pro, and I'm not sure what your local track runs. You used to have Sacramento, which I hear was pretty dang close to you. Now I'm sure you run Sonoma. Is that your closest track?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. Born and raised in Sac Raceway. Sonoma's like, I think 100 miles away, like 90, 95 miles away from my house. You know what I mean? So Sac was 15 minutes down the road. I was home. Obviously, we lost and still forever, sad about that. But yeah, Sonoma's the home track. Reading's about 2.5 hours north. Bakersfield is like 5.5 hours south. And Fallon's about 4 hours east. So, I mean, ain't nothing real super close, and it's it's sad the state of bracket racing around here right now, just with losing Sac because of how many events that they held every year. Like it was really comparable to Woodburn, as far as like specialty events, crowd pleasing events with they would sprinkle in big bucks racing on those. Our community here in Sac is definitely missing Sac Raceway. It hurts to have it be gone.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was lost in losing tracks. We've lost a couple, Rocky Mountain and Fontana, and the traveling is definitely probably the most difficult thing for you. I know it's difficult for us here, where the closest track is still 2 hours away. I was getting at your local track. Does it run Sportsman and Pro quarter mile, or is it eighth?
So I believe Sonoma and Reading are both Super Pro is only 8th mile, I believe. Wait, no, that's not true. Yeah, I think Super Pro and Pro are both 8th mile at both tracks. Yep, yeah. So Sportsman and Motorcycle are still quarter mile at both tracks. And yeah, I mean, for me, man, I grew up racing quarter mile. Like I always loved quarter mile, but I also had a lot slower car with a lot less expensive equipment. You know what I mean? So once the car progressed and being faster in the quarter mile, 8th mile became a lot funner. And once you realize like that, how tight the racing is, and like for me, like my car, I'm spinning 7,700 through the quarter mile. Like my car is, the engine's zinging, at the quarter mile, and it's definitely, to pick up what 25, 30 miles an hour between the 8th and quarter, like it's almost like wasted energy, and there's a lot more time to play games, which is cool, and I enjoy running both, but I definitely check the box and co-sign the 8th mile side nowadays.
Well, it's funny. I've been looking into it quite a bit. It's like the never ending, topic about eighth or quarter. And obviously, whatever camp you're in, most people are pretty passionate about that camp. IHRA way back in the day started as an 8th mile sanctioning body. So, we have drag racing roots in 8th mile. And I think, back in the day, you needed a quarter mile. You didn't want to race if you're not going to break 100, right? And like you needed a quarter mile to go 100 miles an hour. Nobody wanted to race and have 65-mile-an-hour time slips, I'm sure. Right? You wanted to go 100. I'm sure that was like a big thing, and you needed a certain amount of real estate to do that. Well, you don't need that anymore. Cars are way faster. Now you're doing 105, 110, to the 8th in just a respectable bracket car, not even a super fast one. So, I personally, I grew up on the quarter mile stuff, as West Coasters. I think we have a much stronger and deeper connection to that history. But like, man, I'm not that attached to it. And 8th mile is a lot of fun. And now the generations coming up, less and less and less of those people have that connection to that old school style of California hot rodding. And I think, it's only a matter of time. I think 8th mile will, except for maybe exhibition purposes and things like that, like we'll all go 8th mile. I think at some point it seems like the future, and I'm good with it.
I mean, everything's a trickle down. Like look at the big boys, like Top Fuel and Funny Car, that they had to cut it down to 1,000 feet. Like the tire compound technology isn't even able to keep up with how much horsepower they're making. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, as our cars progress and get faster as bracket racers, I think 8th mile is perfectly fine. I love both, but yeah, like I said, I'll check 8th mile.
Well, speaking of 8th mile and bracket racing, you have well over 15 big checks, and you have back-to-back wins at the Summer Showdown at Troy's race in Oregon. Are you going to go try and make it a three-peat and add another big check to your wall?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan, man. Troy's been doing a great job of promoting the event and putting it on. And I had an amazing time last year at the inaugural, and just happy to support my homie, my boy, and made the haul for literally one day of racing, and was blessed to take home the bag and the big check. You know what I mean? Back to California. Actually, that's this year. That's last year's right there. That one. But yeah, man, just super blessed and thankful. And yeah, no, I definitely, I'm the type of person, man, if you build it, I will come, you know what I mean? So if Stickers is together and it's advantageous, between my wife and allowing me to, go do what I want to do, then I'll be at every single race I can, work permitting as well. But man, and I want to say something about the big checks, man. It's funny too, because like I think about people on the East Coast, posting wins and stuff, like they give out big checks like all over the place for, local races, bracket races, stuff like that. Like out here on the West, like, I mean, some tracks are starting to do that, but you win your local points race, like you're not getting a big check, you know what I mean? Like recently it's went to that, but man, like, you said 15 big checks or something. Like, I mean, I'd probably have 250 wins. Like they could all be big checks, you know what I'm saying? But that's a big difference between East and West Coast, is that we didn't prioritize, the big checks until recently. And I love to see it, man. Like I'm a big trophy guy. Like when I was young, my dad would take the trophy and I take the money, you know what I mean? And it's definitely shifted in my mind. Like the money gets spent so quick, but these trophies tell a story. These trophies are forever. You know what I mean? Like if I'm blessed to have kids and they have kids, and it's somebody that, they can look at like, dang, like my dad or grandpa was, he was pretty good at whatever he was trying to be good at, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. So man, I think these trophies and the big checks are an extension of a trophy. Like I think they're really important to be given out to racers that excel on a weekend.
One of the most impressive things that I did see on your stat sheet, you have 29 Wallies. And the reason why I think it's so impressive is you're not racing for a Wally every race you show up to. It's not like you're racing a divisional or a national when you go racing. It's local point series, it's bracket races. So to have 29 Wallies racked up at the very limited amount of Wally races you attend, that's outstanding.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, man. And I'm glad you're able to recognize that, you know what I mean? Because I definitely think about that, is that, I would love to run the NHRA tour, you know what I mean? The West Coast tour, and chase divisionals and nationals. And I'm just not there quite yet, you know what I mean? And now with my career, it'd be really hard to truly pursue something like that. I want to dabble in it possibly like next year, like soon, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, all of my Wallies are from national opens. They're from your local track when they come and do, the national open. So yeah, or majority of them anyways. I got the divisional and the national, but yeah, man, it's I definitely, we have, one opportunity per year at each track, you know what I'm saying? So for a Wally race. And no, I'm very proud of that, man. My dad, I've spoke about this plenty of times, that my dad, he raced, he still would race if he could, Sac Raceway is just, he's got to travel to it now, but he's raced majority of his life and doesn't have a Wally, and I know that he would like one, you know what I'm saying? There's a ton of people that we race with that have raced their entire lives and don't have one. So like, I know I'm extremely fortunate and blessed to have accumulated as many as I have. And I'm a Wally hog. Like I want them all. Ash catch them, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to catch them all.
Well, you're off to a good start, man. And, I know you've gotten some specialty trophies. I was really stoked to be able to hand you two now from the Summer Showdown. And that's why we wanted to make the trophies cool, right? Because they do mean something down the road. Just a year or two before we thought of the race, I was cleaning out my dad's house after he passed and found old trophies that him and my mom won. These two sand drags. And I found the trophies, and it was like I remembered some of that stuff, and it was like we didn't have whatever prize money they had or whatever they won. We didn't have any of that, but I had that trophy, and so it's cool. And stoked that you've supported that race. That one of the reasons we put it on, you hinted at that, is like there's just not as many opportunities out here. They're fewer and further between. There's been some series come and go. The only real consistent fixture over the last 10 years has been Chris Forsyth. And everything else has came and went, even really good ones that maybe didn't even stop for any real good reason. They just have run their course. But he's been the consistent person, but that's been it, right? And I remember getting into the racing family up here and the community up here, and just hearing they're like, why don't we have stuff like that? Why don't we have a big money race, right? Because we're watching something on YouTube and it's like, well, let's have one. And we're starting to build it, and I hope we can continue to do that. But I think that gets into one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and you've kind of alluded to it, kind of the state of racing, especially within the state of California, right? We're talking about the homeland, really. And it's in dire straits a little bit. You got some things holding on, but I think even some of the tracks that are still open, there's question marks. What's up with Sonoma's bracket program? What's going on at Reading? Famoso's there, right? But it's just different. The landscape has changed so much. Maybe talk about, kind of the current state of things, from your great home state.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And I mean, the worst part about it is that us as racers, we have no control over any of this, like we just, where they put the schedule out, we try to show up in arms, a bunch of us go to them, but we have no control over, tracks making decisions to close or, counties and cities not wanting them there, you know what I mean? As it was with Sac Raceway, like it is what it is type of thing, and it sucks for the kids, like the next generation. That's where it's terrible, like for somebody like me, and our racing friends, like wherever the race is, we're gonna show up, like if we can make it happen, we'll be there, but these kids, like you see what's going on in California with these side shows and shutting down the freeway and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like you have to have an outlet for these kids to go safely have fun with their vehicles, you know what I'm saying? And if you take away a legal entity for them to explore that, then this is what happens. Like, and there's no way around it. So, I mean, it sucks to see, tracks close and all of that. But I mean, it's also a sign of the times, so technology is going to keep getting where it's going. And I mean, if the tracks continue to close down, I mean, we'll support the ones that are still open and supporting us bracket racers,
Yeah, man, it's a tough situation, places are growing and things happen and things change. And I think we all get it, it doesn't make it any less unfortunate. Recent over the Thanksgiving holiday saw some, like a montage of a couple different drag strips that have closed down recently. And it's crazy. If you want to know how much work your local track's putting in to their track, all you got to do is look at some of these pictures of these tracks within a matter of weeks after they close down, in disrepair almost immediately, right? And one of the things that made me appreciate, it's like, wow, you see a track that's shut down for 6 months, it looks like nobody's raced there in 6 years. That just showed me how much work it takes to run one of these facilities, and it kind of gives me a new appreciation for what it takes. But then also that then gives me perspective to understand, like, man, especially if you've been in it for a long time as a family operation or something like that, finally getting to the point where you're like, you know what? We're walking away from this. It's hard to blame. It's hard to blame people. It's probably a really crappy business model, and so, and the love for it can only take you so far. So,
yeah, no, it's a child of love for sure. Like I mean, luckily Woodburn, you guys got Steve that lives on property and does this thing with making that place look like a state park every weekend. You know what I mean? But big shout out to him. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I would imagine it's super difficult. Plus you're dealing with, personalities every weekend, especially, us bracket racer types that like to, have it our way, so, so it's definitely I would assume it's not easy to, to run a facility and I don't hold anything against people, or tracks that have closed by choice. It is what it is, like we had an announcer years ago at Sonoma that would always speak on like the history of California. He passed away, rest in peace, and so I think he had sent me or showed me this website where they have like the history of California racetracks, drag strips. There was something over like 60 drag strips in California. Like it's crazy. And on this website, there was like pictures and videos of each track that somebody had submitted. So it was really cool to see, like, and now we're down to what, 5? You know what I'm saying? Like it's it's definitely 2025 out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I may have been probably looking at the same site about the tracks in Oregon, and it's funny, you start to notice there was a culture like every airstrip was a drag strip back in the day. Like every county airstrip was the county drag strip, and every county had one, you know. And that's the way I still feel when I go back to the Southeast. You know, we see that out there. These guys racing for 5, 10, 20, 30 grand like every weekend. It's almost even more impressive because there's so many tracks. Like you could race for 10 grand in some places out there at 5 different places on any given Saturday night, right? A 10 grander's like just a normal Saturday night out there. And it still seems to some extent, certainly more than out here. If there's 600 feet of pavement, they're going to make a drag strip out of it out there. And so it's one thing I love about getting to go visit that part of the country. But
and at each of the mom and pops tracks, they have 100 entries at each of those tracks. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more people in the Midwest, East Coast. You know what I mean? We're spread out here. That's one of the issues of being out on the West Coast, is that we're so spread out. Like if LA could have a racetrack once again, like there's enough people there to facilitate it. You know what I mean? Like, but we all have to congregate 2 racetracks out here, and you have to
haul.
Yeah,
man, it's a haul. And I think the class racers and stuff probably understand that. I think there's probably a large crowd of the bracket racers from other parts of the country who, if they've never been out here, they just don't quite grasp the distance. You know, I always think Tucson's a great example for us up here. We're like, oh man, we all want to go race Tucson. It looks so much fun down there. There's all kinds of great events. Forsyth's event in the spring is an incredible show. But we got to drive to Vegas, which is 14 hours away. And then we got to drive 9 more hours. You know, like it's so far. Like these places are so far away. It's amazing that we're able to even keep divisional schedules together anymore in D6 and D7, I think, right? And it's a huge commitment for those people that are committed to running those series, because they're going to have to put some miles on. You know.
Yep, definitely much respect to them for doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing. Like I didn't grow up on the NHRA side, like the, you know, chasing divisionals and stuff. Like that's not what my dad was. So like I didn't even honestly grow up like watching the big boys. Like I've never been to a national event. You know what I'm saying? Like people are surprised when I say that. You know what I mean?
We gotta fix this, man. We're gonna have to have a breakdown get together at Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I've always told myself when I go, I want to race. Like I want to be there to race. I'm not trying to go watch. That's not fun to me. You know what I mean? I want to be in a car. So so it'll happen someday. But I didn't grow up, you know, on the NHRA side of it. I grew up on the, you know, local bracket side of it, and it's almost like 2 different worlds. Like I know you said earlier that most NHRA guys bracket race, but like you said, it's not the other way around so much, man. The local bracket scene is very much a local bracket scene, you know, until you get to these bigger money events like yourself is put on, where you're going to draw people from outside of your city and state to come support it. Yeah, but yeah,
I want to tell
cool
some
thing.
of those stories here. There's some personalities here, you know, in that form of racing, and I won't get too deep into it, but was at the Woodburn banquet a couple weeks ago. Derek Jackson, who's a very accomplished racer up here in the Northwest. He's been a world champion before. He's made the ET finals team 35 years in a row.
Yep.
You know, and like so he gets to do this NHRA thing like once in a while. But otherwise, that whole story and everything that goes into it, all that time, like, is relatively under the radar. And so stories like yours, stories like Derek's, those are the kinds of things I eventually want to tell of the West Coast racers out here, because I think there's so much of that because of the style that we have and the styles that we don't have out here. So many different stories. We're running up on the 1 hour mark. I don't know what else Parker has. I have one more question, maybe that'll be a good one to close us out. But Parker, I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to get in here.
I do have 2 more questions. First off, do you have any good Kyle Seipel stories? And
Man,
just remember, this is a PG, maybe
That's-
13 rated podcast.
that's honestly the issue, man. Yeah, Kyle was a special dude, man. Like he's like anybody that really knew Kyle Seipel knows that he was one of a kind. You know what I mean? Like he's the type that would captivate the room and say the craziest thing and then follow up by doing it type person. You know what I mean? And honestly, like I'm so much younger than him. Like I didn't have the relationship with him that like, you know, Sean Clark or Eric Reyes, like they grew up racing with him, like traveling out of town and racing with him. And the stories that I've heard are just, yeah, not podcast worthy. You know what I mean? but man, I've always been, since I was a young man, you know, he believed in me and I'd always obviously looked up to him just for his racing prowess and his father as well and mother. You know, Georgia and Ted are great people. They ran Sonoma for, I don't know, 50 years, probably longer than that, you know, and so just growing up and being able to watch that and his success as I was a kid watching him dominate, you know what I mean? And like I said, I didn't really know him like that or whatever, but then, you know, he reached out to me and had made it very apparent that he was aware of what I was doing, you know, with my little 12-second setup, you know, and kind of just always made sure to check in on me and so I mean, he started the fling in whatever year it was. I think they just passed their 10th year, you know, and like he had made it clear from probably around the time when he took over Sonoma, like 2018. He's like, dude, you need to be at the fling. Like, what do I have to do to make sure that you're at the fling? Like, how can I make sure that you come? And I'm just like, yeah, like, I don't know if I should be there or how I'm gonna get there or, you know, if my car go blow up on, you know what I'm saying? And so when I made the conscious decision to go for the first time, it would have been 2020. Like I pre-entered the Pro 38 at the time. And Kyle, we had a race at Sonoma and he came and found me. He's like, hey, like I seen your name on the list. Like, I'm so excited you're coming. Like people need to, like, bro, you gonna make some noise. Like, I'm so excited. And he's like, so you what type of weather station do you run? And I'm like, he's like, weather station? What are you talking about? He's like, you're telling me you don't use a weather station? I'm like, no. Like this? No, not at all. So he comes and finds me later in the day. He gave me his weather station, his handheld, you know, Perform Air. And he gave me all of his formulas and always told me, like, you know, if you have any questions or, you know, like you'll start to see trends though, like pay attention to them. He's like, this is imperative for going to a place like the Fling where if you win first round, you're waiting 6 hours till second round, you know what I mean? And I'd have been in there just pissing in the wind, you know what I'm saying, on dial in, you know, where but he tried to set me up for success. He gave me his weather station and a terrible part of the story is unfortunately I backed over it. I had it hide in the shade underneath my tow vehicle and I backed over it and cracked the case. So if anybody could point me in the right direction to getting Kyle Seipel's handheld Perform Air fixed, let me know because I'm not getting rid of it. It's something that I like to fix someday and utilize again. Yeah.
So you still have it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just the screen doesn't work and it's busted up a little bit on one of the corners.
Man, that's so classic. You're talking about the trophies, right? What the trophies mean, and like that's that same kind of deal, man. Like I of course never got the chance to get to know that guy. Hear just all the stories. And, you know, to be able to have something like that connected to a story like that, that's pretty rad, man.
I love it. My last and final question, I guess it's not mine. Chad Simonton really, really wants you to tell the story about your burnout in the Sacramento Winner's Circle.
Oh man. So that was our final race at Sac Raceway. It was crazy. Like they had announced, you know, this would be the last event. And then literally 2 days after that event, they're like, hey, next Saturday, what are you guys doing? You guys want to come back for another last event? and everybody was like, of course, like we'll be there, you know? So that was that event, the last, and we had took pictures in the winner's circle, just just it's the last time standing there and all that stuff. And one of the photographers was like, "You should do a burnout in the winner's circle." I was like, "No, like, bro, that's like, to me, that's disrespectful." You know what I mean? But I'm like, man, this is the last event though. Like, there's not going to be any more racing here. Like, I'm disrespecting who, you know? So, I'm pretty easily coerced. You know what I'm saying? Him and a few other people were like, your Sac Raceway, like, you need to do this. And it was an amazing photo op, man. I'm forever grateful that I made the decision to do that. The track owner's daughter Jen was pretty upset about it at first until I spoke with her. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a once in a lifetime type of thing. And that picture, the value to me of that picture is insurmountable. I love it.
Well, and it's not a crappy picture, right? It's set up, it's framed well, and like that's part of the story now, right? That moment, that final burnout and smoke show with the sign behind it, that was it, man. You know, and that was the final, exclamation point on what was a great run for a great track for a lot of people. And so, I think that's pretty cool. And it's a quality enough photo that I would not be surprised in 30, 40, 50 years. Like that thing will pop up, and that was the final chapter, the final word in a long story. So pretty cool, man. It was definitely the right decision.
So, and then I don't know if you guys can see these R's right here. Here, I'll grab it. So I have two of them kind of for Robertson Racing or whatever, but these are off of the burnout box concrete when you're coming into the water box. Yep, the Sacramento Raceway. These are straight from the track, man. Blessed that the track allowed me to keep those as a keepsake, and they're something that I'll carry forever. Like we all miss our track, man. I know you guys can understand the sentiment of losing a racetrack. I know Parker with Rocky Mountain, like this. It's not a good feeling, man. Like you grow up at the track and like the people become family, like an extended family, and then you have thoughts of raising your kids there and experiencing some of the things that you experienced, and then to have that all taken away it's not a good feeling.
Yeah, man, that sucks. And Pomona's probably the next one to go, which is so wild. I think Bakersfield will be there forever. It would be blasphemy, I think, to ever get rid of. Like, I just don't ever see. I see it somehow making it. I'm sure Reading is safe for a long time, at least location wise and all that. So I hope you guys don't lose anymore. I know there's that newish track there. I think they just finally got some timing systems involved too. There's Mendota and some other track too, I think. So maybe there's some opportunities for some new facilities and, maybe a resurgence and some people on the come up to fill the gaps, man. I hope anyway.
Yeah, I would love it. Would love to see it, or even the tracks that are here, just investing in those. Like somebody needs to go throw a bunch of money at Medford and take over there, and you know what I'm saying. So I forget what the other track is up there by Bend, the 8th Mile track.
Madras.
Madras. I've never been there before, but I'd love to go. I've been to Medford once. I had a great time. You know what I mean, and had success there. Won the shootout on Friday night. Like it has great bones. It just needs some money and structure thrown at it. You know what I mean, to be a really cool facility.
Yeah, Medford's a unique facility in that the county owns all that property, so it's like part of a county-owned motorsports complex, and they lease out the management and have some kind of deal for whoever runs the show. But it's a cool track. I know they've made some recent improvements in Medford. Return lights on the return road, which was a scary place in the nighttime, getting back down that return road through the trees. But I think they got lights there now, and that's all fixed. So I hope that they continue. Madras has been one of my favorite places to run the last few years, and have had a lot of fun up there. Plenty of room to grow. It's an interesting kind of demographic, and it's just kind of out in the middle of nothing. But we're lucky. We're fortunate here to not really have anything on the way out, though, as it would seem anyway. So definitely feel lucky. I want to get you out of here, man. I really appreciate the time, but you hinted at this a little bit, and I just wanted to close out. For someone now who has won multiple track championships, you've got a pile of Wallies, you got big checks, you've won ET championships for your division, you've won world championships in the NHRA Heritage Series. Kind of what's the end game? What are you still chasing? I think we're all, one of the things I love about drag racing is you have so many people on not even parallel paths, but these people on all these different paths and journeys on like totally different planes. Some people are going for their first win. Some people are going for their 100th, right? And everything in between. Someone's just trying to get to the 9s or get to the 10s. There's all these different things. And somehow or another, even though they're all on different planes, in between those starting line beams, all of those paths intersect. And I think it's such an amazing part of the sport, but it gets me always wondering and thinking, like, what are people chasing? Because everybody's chasing something. What are you still chasing, and where are you trying to go?
Quite simply, I'm chasing myself. That's it. I've spoke about it in the past, like when I had my last, big podcast with Luke, 5 years ago, is that like when I think about the setup that he has built for himself as far as a platform, like that is a goal of mine. And when I think about being all said and done with racing myself, like I would like people to look back at my career and say, like, he was one of the best to ever do it. Like, and that is a super lofty goal. Like, and I'm not saying it to be cocky or funny or anything, but like that is what I'm striving towards. Like, I'm trying to be great. I'm not trying to be okay, mediocre. Like my expectations for myself are that high, and it takes us like a certain like personality type or whatever. Like, you listen to Jordan speak or you listen to Kobe speak. Like, I love listening to those dudes speak. Like, there's a different type of animal that is able to get to that type of success. You know what I mean? Like, we all love listening to Luke speak. You know what I'm saying? And I try to do my part. My platform's obviously a lot smaller, but the people that tap in every time I go live or, share my stuff, or like I get a ton of people that just message me, and ask questions or whatever. Like, I always got time for anybody that wants to be better or wants to pick my brain about what they think or what I think, you know what I mean? Like, I love to take the time and try to build people up, make people better racers. Like I put it all out there. Like, it's on live. Like, if I had to race myself, I feel like I would beat myself 9 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? And it's on live. Like, the footage is there. You know what I'm saying? So people have insights when they're lined up next to me. They probably think they know what I'm going to do. Prove it. You know what I'm saying? You still gotta turn it on. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. And but yeah, man, I'm chasing myself, man. I just I want to strive to be the best possible racer that I can. And there's a ton of time, towards chasing towards that goal as far as from now till then. So we'll just keep, showing up and trying to turn on win lights one round at a time. And that's what it is. The chips will fall where they do.
Man, I love that so much. And I think about sports like drag racing, individual sports like drag racing or track and field or boxing. There's a certain audacity that you got to have to think that you could be one of the greats, right? Because it's an individual sport, it's almost an unreasonable, it's an illogical goal almost, and it takes some sort of possession to go after it. But there's a beauty to that, and there's almost a romantic element to just somebody even having that type of quest. It's so big, and then at the end of the day, because the way that those sports are, there's a justice in the result, right? With drag racing, there's such a finality in that, and you have two people who have worked however they've worked, going after what they're doing, and there's an objective way to settle this thing. And so I just think that's a beautiful part of the sport, man. And I don't think you're off to a bad start. If you're up against yourself, you have a lofty competitor. If you're going against yourself, and you've proven that time and time again, week in and week out, year after year. It's been great to get to know you over the past few years, to watch you work and appreciate the ambassador you are for our sport, for our sport in this part of the country and the way we do it and where we all come from. So just appreciate you for that, man, and really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us today.
No, man, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. And I believe, platforms like this are important, and I've supported it since you guys have opened it up. And I did want to touch on real quick, though. Like, I know Parker has been in the winner's circle, so I know he can resonate. Troy, maybe next year, what I'm saying, you'll know what we're talking about. But like, the pursuit doesn't end. Like, when you win an event, come Monday morning, it's where's the next race? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not celebrating for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're going to celebrate that night, but come Monday morning, it's back to work. It's where's the next event? When am I leaving? And how can I put myself in the best position to win that event as well? Like, and there's no end to that. You know what I mean? So
he just sunned me, Parker. Did you hear him just sun me like that? I mean, I thought we was dogs, I thought that was my dog down there.
Here, Troy, let me and Henry talk for a second.
Man.
Hey, you go get there, Troy, man. You've been in the lead with me, you know what I'm saying, for a few years now. That's where we got to know each other, like this network of people. Just like Kyle Seipel introduced me to Peter Biondo and Sean Clark, and Sean introduced me to Luke Bogacki, and you know what I mean? Like this network of people, and obviously Troy as well, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this network of people within our sphere, it's incredible, man. It's a great group of people, and we're like, nobody's looking to tear each other down. Like when we're staged up, yeah, I want to chop your head off. But as soon as we hit the finish line, like, we're friends again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that's so unique to bracket racing. Like, people come from other forms of racing and can't fathom that we're friends with our opponents. You know what I'm saying? Or that you would go out of your way to help your opponent that you're going to race the next round. You know what I mean? Like, that is so only bracket racing. I guess maybe grudge racing, that type of stuff too. But the forms are so segregated. Like grudge racers hate no time racers, hate no prep racers, and most people hate bracket racers, and everybody hates roll racers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, we can all enjoy this sport together within our subsections of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing, man. People like yourselves that are doing a podcast like this, man, I commend you. I'll tap in as often as possible while I'm driving that big rig for UPS, working 14-hour shifts, and just keep pushing, man. Keep thriving to be great, and I'll be saluting and rooting for you guys for sure.
Thanks so much, brother. We really appreciate the time. To anybody who is joining us for the first time, who hasn't got a chance to know, now you know. Henry Roberson, flying the flag for the West Coast proudly for many years now. Once again, brother, we really appreciate you. Stay safe out there. Drive safe. Looking forward to seeing you this next season, and hope you have a fantastic holiday, brother.
Yes, sir. Much love, man. Y'all have a great holiday as well. We'll see y'all soon, all right?
Thanks, man. Henry. We'll talk to you later. There's no doubt in my mind that if Henry keeps doing what he's doing, he will go down as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, man, the proof's in the pudding right at the end of the day, and you can look back. Like I said, there's a record of this. We have a record of the events. And if you didn't, he made sure to record them all, and so he's got the receipts, and who knows, right? Like, I'm never one to proclaim anybody the greatest if they're still active. Greatest is a culmination of things. Best and greatest sometimes can be the same person, but they're not the same thing. And if you're talking about the best, who's doing it the best out here on the West Coast right now, that's a guy that's certainly in the conversation with a few others, and we'll see. I know he's going to come swinging hard this next year. Sound like he dropped a little hint of maybe trying to get into some sort of NHRA divisional, maybe throw a throttle stop on that thing and go super streeting or something like that. He could almost go super gas racing in it if he wanted to. So be interesting to see if he makes a step like that. But a great conversation with one of the most prolific West Coasters doing it right now, Henry Roberson.
Yeah, I love listening to Henry's point of view on some things. It's very interesting to see. I'm back to the door car to dragster and dragster to door car conversation, but you know what? Drag racing is just cool in general. It doesn't matter what you run. If you're running your G body or you're running 6-0 dragster. It's a numbers game, and it's just fun all the way around.
Yeah, man, it's the coolest thing I've ever done, and feel fortunate to to be a small part of the drag racing family out here in the Pacific Northwest and on the West Coast. I think that'll pretty well wrap us up, man. We'll figure out a show for y'all next week. We're gonna take the week of Christmas off. I'm gonna be out of town. Coop will be with Parker will be with his family. But we might have Cooper Chun coming on. I wasn't just thinking about Coop. I do. I just think about Coop all the time.
Next week we got Bill Kidd coming on.
Oh, so look at maybe we'll do a double guest. Maybe we could book 2.
Next
or we got
week,
some post Christmas. Maybe we'll have some after Christmas Coop.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Next week Bill Kidd's coming on to discuss all things Hangover Nationals in Tucson, Arizona. If you guys don't know what that is and are itching to go racing, that we got the Hangover Nationals in Tucson. They pay $5,000 each day to win in both Super Pro and Pro. They have junior dragsters. They have a golf cart race. They have sportsmen too, I believe. But it's
nice.
A very similar format to the Thanksgiving Nationals. But
nice. That'll be fun.
If you're interested, check it out. I think it's on Tucson's website. There is a pre-entry that is about $100 cheaper than if you wait until after December 20th. So check it out, and we'll talk to you guys more next week about bracket racing.
Yes, sir.
We'll see ya.